we? I warmed up today.
That didn't come out so good.
No, that would be like alcohol. Who are we, Carrie?
Screaming divas.
Yeah, okay. Or I might just be the cackling diva.
Oh yeah, we are definitely the cackling divas today. Mercy.
Woods. In the woods. And who fabulously did we interview today?
Oh my God. Okay, people, y'all gonna pee your pants.
I peed my pants.
Pee your pants because we interviewed who? Kate
Walsh.
Hey people in the house, we got Kate Walsh. Are you kidding me? I have no idea why she wanted to talk to us. Well, I think she's a super fan of you, and then she's probably going to email you and be like, why the hell did you have me talk to Carrie Algama?
That Carrie girl, she's crazy. No, Kate, a lot of people don't know this about her, but she is a huge opera fan.
Yeah.
And lived in New York, lived, who knows, right now with COVID. Right now she's in Australia. But
stuck there.
Yeah. But doing what she loves.
She got stuck there on vacation and turned lemons into lemonade. And you're going to hear all about that in the interview. It's super awesome and super cool. Really, really like this woman. Love her.
Yeah. And I hope you guys really listen to the whole interview. She is a spectacular person and so down to earth, real, honest, sincere, and loves her profession. And it's
talented, really, really. I mean, I love her shows, people. I mean, I have watched so much of her stuff before we even had this interview. So I was trying not to fangirl out. I probably embarrassed myself.
No, you were good. You were good, except for the wine, maybe. Yeah, because do we need to say there was one of those?
And I don't have 6 halo lights, just 2. Just saying.
But really, check out this clip with us and Kate. And what else do they need to do, Carrie?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Do we need to tell them?
I feel like saying sweet baby Jesus.
It's almost Christmas, so you can say that, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe. Can you please all just subscribe, please?
Just click the button. I mean, how hard is that? I don't understand.
It doesn't take much time, does it? You know, can we help them just like show how to click that button? We are just having way too much fun, as you can see, but we love you all. We hope you're all safe. Watch the holidays. Yeah. Click the button. If heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say when you walk through the pearly gates?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all tits and champagne from here on out, kid.
Best answer yet.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I want to go there.
Oh, yeah. You are. So how are you? My gosh, I haven't seen you in ages.
I know, I'm really well. I mean, I'm living my best life in Perth in Western Australia. If anybody would have said a year ago, I think you're going to wind up in Western Australia, I'd be like, huh? Where, Perth? Where's that? Is that in Scotland, right? No, there's another one, and it's here in WA. Yeah.
No, I had to look it up because I've been, reading about what's going on with you and what you're doing over there, which is, we have to talk about that because it's really fabulous. But I was like, oh my God, where is this? Like, it's COVID free.
Yeah, it's COVID free. We don't wear masks. There was a lockdown and there was, quarantining, but they took it very seriously.
Okay.
And we're all very aligned in how they dealt with it in the entire continent of Australia. Mm-hmm. But within I think it's 7 states.
Sounds good. We're going to go with 7.
You guys, I'm not a geographer, okay? But I think there's 7 states here. But particularly in Western Australia, Mark McGowan, who's the premier here, they locked down. The borders were closed, hard borders, even between towns. Mm-hmm. And then, and people paid attention, and there were big fines if you didn't. There were police roadblocks, there was social distancing. Wow. And then they eradicated it very quickly. So about, I'd say 2 months into the pandemic, then they started opening places back up and like in levels, to the extent of which I was able to do a play that we closed 2 weeks ago, you know, a small theater. It was 200 seats, but it was pretty incredible. I mean, we're having, dinner. I do feel like a tiny bit guilty, but not much.
No, because you all went through the lockdown.
Yeah.
So there's a reward for that. So were you able to fill all the seats? Were 200 people allowed to be there?
Yeah, no, we were able to sit, and we didn't know, when we first started rehearsing, we were like, well, because, you know, anything could happen. But we were like, well, there might have to be spaces in between seats, or we might be able to fill all of them. We were able to fill all of them. And luckily for us, it was a successful play, and we sold out. So that was great. And yeah.
Was it weird getting back to work? Was it kind of like, ooh, wait?
Yes, it was. I was like, wait, I kind of got used to being like a housewife, even though I'm not a housewife, but I'm like, I really enjoyed I mean it with all due respect. I'm like, I really enjoy my life of slowing down, and actually the housewives have it. They're not, so they don't slow down. But I did cook a lot, and I went to the shops a lot in the market, and I really enjoyed I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm right by the beach, and I walk on the beach. I mean, it's crazy. Even during the pandemic, when things were locked down, I called them my mental health beach walks. So.
Okay, so is that how you've been able to keep the COVID like muffin top off your body? Because I saw a photograph of you, I don't know, in some backless dress, and I was like, damn, girl, you did not gain the COVID everything and all else.
I did. But what happened was the gyms opened up. I was eating the bread, and I was having, also here they have great coffee in Australia. So I was drinking, they're big fans of cappuccinos. So I was drinking full whole milk cappuccinos. Like literally, I was probably drinking at least like 2 liters a day of cow's milk. And I was like, why am I getting all this pudge? I'm like, between the bread and the butter and the cappuccino and the wine. And let's be honest, the wine, I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
The vat of wine that's always happening around here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, why? I don't understand what's happening. And I'm walking every day. I'm like, there's not enough steps in the world to cover what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. Every time you talk about that, because we're saying, wait,
that's what I do. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
We're working out, but yeah, we're used to moving a lot more, and we're not moving like we used to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're doing the same exercises before. It's still not the same, but
no, Peloton bike that we bought was not doing it. I was like, Peloton fail.
There went the sponsorship out the window. No,
I love Pelotons.
Yeah.
So are you staying in Perth, and how much longer? What's next?
Okay, so I'm staying here for the time being. Yes, I'm probably staying at least through mid 2021. I've sublet my apartment in New York.
Wow.
On his way out here. I've been working hard with local businesses, to developers and government, and Screen West is an organization here that is a nonprofit but handles all film and television production here. So we're working to get a studio built, because this is an incredible place to work and shoot. And but they don't have, I'm like, why aren't people shooting here all the time? It's like the climate is like California. It's stunning. The Indian Ocean is pristine. It's beautiful. There's so many gorgeous locations. And come to find out that people, you know, we're not internationally known. I mean, you were like, wait, we got to look it up. Everybody's like, what? Perth? Where's that? Meanwhile, the rest of Australia is getting tons of film and television because of how well they've handled COVID. And so we've been rallying. It's been a long effort before I got here to have a studio built, so that we can have access to the federal funding and be on the map for international productions, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been working hard doing that, and I'm hoping to bring a TV show, a streaming show here. So we'll see that 2021, and so I'm sticking around for a bit.
I love that. Like, you went there, got stuck there. And you've like turned something really that could have been awful into something really beautiful. It's amazing. Congratulations on that. Way to go.
yeah, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, I miss my family and friends. I miss New York. I mean, it's been gutting. It's not like I haven't cried daily.
Well, I know.
I mean, it is like, what is there's not a day that goes by that I'm like, what happened? This is really happening. Do you feel that way? Do you gals feel that way?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we interviewed Ruben Singer, your friend.
Yeah.
And
Yes. I know, which I didn't, I was meant to come and see you do the Three Queens in Chicago.
I know you
But
got
I just had a hip replacement surgery. Yeah. I'm
Ooh,
very old.
bionic woman. Yes.
No, I'm bionic. But honestly, it was like I was gutted. Because yes. I mean, I'm your biggest fan.
But yeah, thank you. But you know, his assistant died from COVID.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then she got it. She died from it. And her husband.
I didn't know there was this. Okay, pardon me. No, I knew someone in his company had died, and but I didn't know it was. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then her husband died and left behind 3 kids. I mean, this stuff is real.
It's real.
No, it's real. My longtime assistant, who's about to come out here, and he's 37, no pre-existing conditions, was 36 when he went into the hospital in New York, into Lenox Hill. 27 days with COVID, almost died. Organs started shutting down. By the grace of God, he survived and lived to tell, and has had a full recovery, health, but no pre-existing. So people are like, I don't know, it's not real, it's all made up or whatever. No, it's real. I mean, when you know people, and of course, Nick Cordero, Amanda Klutz's husband, who's a Broadway actor. I mean, that it's just, it's just gutting and devastating. And so that was, look, the silver lining for me is that he's all right, but it's just, with Ruben, it's terrible. So wait, I'm a massive fan of Nashville. So can I just pivot for a second? Sure. What are the numbers like there? I don't want to be like, hi, this is the COVID podcast, but I just
Davidson County, which is what Nashville is in, was through the roof. They kind of eventually we were able to go into stage 3, but that did not include any concert venues being able to open up. So it went down a little bit, but then of course after the summer and kids are back in school and everything is exploding once again, they reissued a mask mandate in the county below Nashville. Mask mandates have been in Nashville for a while, but everybody fought it. They just had a big protest this last weekend in Franklin, which is another wonderful city just right outside of Nashville. And people were protesting having to wear a mask. And it just, when we know friends of ours that have died, conductor friends, family members of friends that have passed away, and you're just banging your
had it.
It's really devastating and gutting. It's very, and it's really, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Me too. And Governor Lee, there are mayors that are taking the brunt of it and saying, I don't care, we're going to mask mandate. But Governor Lee is a staunch Republican, big fan of Trump, and refuses to make a mask mandate, even though all the health experts this is Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt Hospital is here, huge, amazing things that they do, and have begged him for a mask mandate, and he won't do it. So when your family says stay there, stay there.
Every single person. I mean, it's like every time. I mean, my mother's 87 and she lives in California, and it's, I mean, it's really hard, but I mean, but she just sent my brother an email to have a socially distanced Thanksgiving, but she has health issues where she can't, I mean, literally they've seen each other with masks on from 6 feet away, outside on the porch kind of thing. That's really hard. And I've had friends, my one very good friend in New York, her father died and she didn't even get to say goodbye, it's like, and she's Jewish, she couldn't sit Shiva. You're like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. But I will say, so the play that I did here, actually thinking about everyone that's out of work, all the artists that are, it was started because there was this thing called Play Per View in New York, which is like Zoom play readings.
Yeah, that was cool.
A friend of mine, Maria Dizio, who I'd done a play with at Roundabout, it was doing one. I'm like, I want to do this. I'm like, can it happen? I'm only 12 hours out of New York, 13. But she's like, let me hook it up. And they brought me this gorgeous play called The Other Place that Char White wrote and was done on Broadway with Laurie Metcalf, directed by Joe Mantello in 2014. And we did it as like, sorry, Char, we're going to do a Zoom play and ruin your play. But all of the proceeds went to out of work actors and stagehands.
Amazing.
And then I thought, gosh, it's open here, where it started to open up. I'm like, can we do it here? And then that's how that happened. So it was, it was wonderful. It was like, I feel like we're the only place in the world literally doing a play. So it felt like a real gift, and to bring people together after being in a pandemic and separated. And we did it in a way where the audience, it was a smaller theater, an old, beautiful building in Fremantle. And we had the audience facing each other. So it was along like a jetty, like a thrust stage, and it was beautiful. So they weren't just in rows, but they could see each other too. And so it was very intimate and very intense. And it was great, really wonderful thing to do. And for the community, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So tell me, why acting? I mean, we all get into our business for some reason. Why acting?
Well, when I was little, I started, I remember very distinctly, watching, there was this thing called the $1 Million Movie. I don't know if you guys had that wherever you grew up or where, okay. So you're too young. You're like, what? What's that? You're a young, you're a delicate, youthful flower. And so are you. I mean, let's be honest. Like we're all.
Thank you, but no, we're basically the same age. So yeah.
All right, we're the same age. So my mom and I used to watch the $1 Million Movie when I was little, and I fell in love with like every basically dead movie star there was. It's like, oh my God, Tyrone Power, Gary Cooper, oh my God, Myrna Loy. Everyone, I wanted to be Myrna Loy, Joan Crawford, and Marlena Dietrich, Greta Garbo. I mean, all of them, Vivian Lee, and I was in love with all of these, fabulous leading men. And so I started just doing school plays, and then my parents were divorced when I was 6. So it was a great thing after school to get me involved with drama. And I remember I played Glinda the Good Witch in my first play in elementary school. I loved it. And then I did community theater, and then I tried to be practical when I went to college, and I tried to make my mom's like, get a degree in computers. She's Italian American, like second generation. She's like, get a degree in computers. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And I ended up switching my major like 8 times, and then dropped out because I wanted to do theater, and I didn't like the theater, program at my particular school. And then started doing more training in plays and summer stock, and moved to Chicago, did theater. Went to the computer workshop in Evanston and trained there, and did a bunch of theater, got my equity card there, then did like my first film there, went to New York, moved there, and with the intention, all my intentions were like, and now I'll go to New York and then it was like, oh, it's going to be another 5 years to get into this theater community. So I started hitting in television and film, independent film, and then moved to LA.
Slow and steady wins the race, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was like slow and steady. There was a lot of waitressing. I was the quintessential bitter waitress. I mean, I had a lot of eye rolling, but I got your food on time. There wasn't a lot of charm though.
And no spitting in there, or I don't know.
I never did anything like that. I never did anything like that. But boy, this is when you could still smoke, and I smoked. And I remember just being at the bar, smelling like, I got another table. Here we go.
So what's the best thing about your profession? What would you say greatest thing about it?
Well, gosh, there's so many great things. I'd done a movie with Liam Neeson that just was released. And again, another anomaly. We had a film that was released in a theater internationally this year.
Crazy.
Which was great. But we were doing press and talking about it, and we were both like, even he and I texted, he goes, I still can't believe I get to go to, this is what we get to do. You get to go and play make-believe, and you have all these people there that are so gifted in their respective fields to lean in and make this communal thing happen. And a guy who does, builds fake this or that, and people that light you and people that hold the book. I mean, it's just so I still pinch myself. I remember when I moved to LA and I got to drive onto a lot. I was like, I can't believe this is like Warner Brothers, you know, it's just,
awesome.
it's like always a little, you used to feel like a little kid, but I just love, God, I love, all the different people I get to meet, and that every role and every job is completely different. And there's always some other driving force, you know, like Umbrella Academy was, you know, my buddy that I'd worked with, he ran the writer's room for a few years on Private Practice. His name's Steve Blackman. And then he wrote on Fargo. And
wait, so he was both on that? Okay, so I've seen these. I mean, I watched all of these, not because we were interviewing you, because we're just huge fans of the shows. And I mean, wait, Umbrella Academy was the same person that you're talking about and Fargo too, that those are connected in there?
Yeah, so Noah Hawley created Fargo. Like he adapted it from the Coen brothers, and he was the showrunner. But one of the main writers, you know, very small, like 4 people writing crew on Fargo, was Steve Blackman. And Steve ran the writer's room with Craig Turk for a couple seasons on Private Practice. So that's how we met. Okay. And then I worked with him because he wrote on season 1 and 2 of Fargo, and I was on season 1. Yes. So he's like, hey, come on, you're going to love this. And then, I mean, I had to audition for that, but I was thrilled. And then when he was making Umbrella Academy, he's like, I have this role. It was written for like a John Hamm type. I'm like, that's a first. I mean, I do have a strong jaw, but still. But no, he's like, he's not going to do it. But he's like, I thought of you, and it would be really fun to cast this as, you know, a woman and, you know, the handler. And he's like, I'm going to send it to you and tell me what you think. And he's like, we don't have a lot of money, but we do, you know, you can do whatever you want with the character. And I was like, well, don't change a word of it. Don't change it because of the gender, because there was some really funny, great stuff. Mm-hmm. And I said, do you have a wig budget? And do you have a wardrobe budget? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, great. Like, let's go. And so Christopher Hargaden, who as the costume designer on it, is amazing. And his whole crew. And you know, from opera, the wig makers, the millimeters, everything about it. I was like, and the gorgeous makeup artists, and we just had a ball creating the handler. So that job was really, other than the great writing, which was intentionally very verbose, so a lot of memorizing my part, but it was all about that look and building this, because it came from a graphic novel. It was about building this kind of archetype, and it was brilliant. I mean, seriously, I'm not just saying that. Like, I loved watching you. I loved all of the costumes. I just loved everything, the storyline, the character. But we got to go back to Fargo, because I am new to Fargo. My mom was like, you have to watch this. You're going to love it. So we started season 1 during COVID. And so I really new to it. But when I saw you in this amazing character, there was part, and then when she was like, we're gonna interview her, I'm like, what? I wanted to know, like, how is there's part of you in that has to be, because that lady, I mean, how did you get your boobies like that? Because they looked amazing. We had a bra.
I'm gonna like go this way.
The bra had like a hydraulic system. It was like cutlets lift up, and no, it didn't have a height, but it felt like it. There was a lot. It was almost pulleys and weights and things, but we did have fun making that. I mean, I am a little busty, but not like that. But we had, the cutlets and like push-up bra, the whole thing. And it was really fun. But again, for me, costumes, how do you feel about costumes? Costumes for me, I mean, you've obviously worked, both of you, I'm sure, with like incredible design, but it's so much informs for me.
Absolutely.
The character.
Absolutely. You know? You become that other person. Mm-hmm. And I believe when you put that costume on, that's when you start to think. Like my acting teacher, when I was at UCLA, he always said, you know, think what that character has in those pockets. Yeah. And that's always for me. Hey, what does this person have in their pockets that's different than what I have in my pocket? And when I put that dress on, or pants, or Carrie's the same way, because Carrie's really a great actress too.
Oh, I love you.
Can I just say, can we talk for a minute about opera? Because so my mom's Italian American, right? And my grandfather sang light opera.
Okay. Diddy, that's how you got the interest in it, because that was my next question.
Yeah, you're like, why? So my grandpa Franco Bocchetto, he sang. He was in the original production of Damn Yankees on Broadway. He was in the chorus, but he sang a bunch. And even when I was a little girl, as I said, my parents were divorced when I was 6. So I would spend a lot of time with my Italian grandparents. My mom was a single mom, so I'd get, they would help out. And he always had opera records going, listen, and then he'd sing along. And my grandma Conchetta would like kind of roll her eyes like, but he had a beautiful voice. And my mother would play opera around the house, and when she'd clean, it was always, I remember opera, and then she'd have the Met on was it Saturdays, right? Or
Saturday afternoon, yep.
Yes, Saturday afternoon, always in the kitchen cooking. So it would start out as like when you're little, you're like, I don't really have an affinity for this. It's like trying to, I don't have the taste yet. But as I got older, I loved it. And then especially, Verdi, Puccini, I mean, all the Italians that are so melodious, and Mozart, everything. So then when my mother got season tickets even in Tucson, and the opera, and when I moved to New York in the 90s, when I was mostly waitressing and a struggling actress, I would go for standing room tickets. And I remember my brother and I saw Cecilia Bartoli like in the 90s when she was there, and I was like, it was just, and then the irony was when I finally could afford like season tickets, I was on Grey's Anatomy, and I was like, I'm working all the time. So I got season tickets to LA Opera, and I remember seeing, Anna Netrebko, like, it was like, this is great. And then I had to give them all away because I could never, so then I was but it was such
you went to the important stuff. You went to opening night at the Met. I remember I saw you in one of Ruben's gowns.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dream. The fact that I get to go, and when I lived in New York, and I mean, that breaks it. I don't know how. You must be heartbroken, because I'm heartbroken. And like you said, for the Met Orchestra, I'm thinking, oh, what can we do? I mean, I've done stuff to help fundraise for them and make people aware, but I'm just like, there has to be
more.
When are they? Yeah, there has to be more. I mean, there has to be, like, here, the government is, subsidizing, like, they're helping people that were out of work. Industries are impacted. It's just.
But that's the difference between there and Europe and North America. Government subsidized. So in Europe, even in Spain, when I was singing to 35% audience, they're going to break even because the government subsidizes it. But the opera houses in the States can't do that because they can't afford that.
No, but the government in Spain could actually pay for the testing. So you felt safe going to work. Whereas here, there's not enough money for testing. I mean, they would go bankrupt just trying to pay for testing. So, and we live in a litigious society. So everybody's afraid to have anything open. Can we talk about something super fun for 2 seconds?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Because I saw your tweet about the latest Grey's Anatomy episode. And I could have hugged you for that tweet because I'm a fan, and I even got my husband watching the show with me like halfway through. Yes, I did. And he watch it. And when we saw Meredith and Derek come out, I mean, we almost fell off the couch.
I mean, I saw it. I didn't know about it until a few days ago when they started. Was it released to the media then? Whenever it was online, and I saw these images, and I kept watching that clip that was on, I don't know if it was on Ellen's feed or Grey's or whatever. And I was like, I almost cried. Like, I had no idea. And we picked up with each other. I saw Patrick in New York right before COVID hit. I think it was in February. And I had no idea that was in the works. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, it's me, Kate, not Addison, right? I mean, even Addie would probably be like,
yes.
but still, that was my social media team's idea.
It was a huge secret. Like, apparently nobody knew about it. They wanted to.
I think Kevin McKidd, who directed the episode, was like, he didn't find out until late in the game. And I know how they keep things top secret there. So it's really incredible they were able to keep it. In this time.
That's a huge secret. Yeah. Okay, tell me this. Sorry, total random, 180. So I just took in a foster to adopt Saint Bernard dog. Sorry, wait, hold on. Before I got up here, I got goobed. I got a big goober on my plate. Anyway,
Crazy.
so I would like to know, because I heard or read somewhere that your fur babies, your fur children, are not with you. So where are
Oh
they?
my God. Yeah, they're in New York. They're coming. They're, they've been in a quarantine program. So, Australia has a serious quarantine. I mean, they're serious here. It's very serious. And people, it turns out they follow the rules. So in many ways, so it's great, which is awesome. So they've been able to do, so it's a quarantine that they're doing with like, the vet and medications and everything and shots, vaccine in New York since June. So they're finished with their protocol at the end of this month. They'll be, they're flying to LA. They're going to stay with Uncle Joe for a few days. And then they will be on a plane to Melbourne, and then they'll be there for 10 days quarantine. Okay. And then they get flown to Perth. So I'm like a little bit rocking like a psycho, because I've been fortunate enough to be able to, bring my pets on location, or the most I've ever been away from them in, 16 years is a month. So we're going on, it'll be 9-10 months. And I'm like, and I have friends that have dogs here, but I'm very low on cats. Okay. And there's one I met on the street, like my old street. I would be like, oh my God, it's Wednesday, with a rhinestone collar. But I am very excited but I've intentionally not, initially I was going to the shelters, but all the animals were adopted during COVID, which was great.
Right.
So there wasn't anybody there, but now I just was like, just hold out, girl. I'm holding out for I have a cat and a dog, Pablo the cat, Rosie the dog. Okay. So like, just can't wait. And then I'll probably cat and dog up after that. I love same time. I want either.
It was totally, we've been wanting a dog for forever. And I finally was like, and I didn't because of the traveling. I know Sandra thinks my mother is like, is this your midlife crisis?
Midlife crisis, Carrie.
So, but I was like, we were looking, we were now in the woods, we have a house. And I just said, listen, if I go back to work, we'll figure it out. I can bring the St. Bernard to the Opera House. I mean, why not? And he can goob all over the costumes. The costume department will love me. But, so anyway, we have a 4-year-old St. Bernard named Humphrey. And he has stolen my heart and has destroyed my house with goobers.
And your wallet, because of all the food you have to eat it, feed it.
He was underweight, but I have gotten 10 pounds on him. Like, I am such a proud mom right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, Sandra, do you have pets? Any animals?
No, because we're normally on the road 11 months.
You're on the road all the time. Yeah.
I have one, and his name is Duncan. He's my husband. Okay, I want to ask you a question now. One moment of seriousness, because I've just gone through menopause.
Oh God!
Oh, yeah, welcome.
We're going there.
We're going there. Wow. No, the
water's a little hotter.
Oh my God! Here we go. Seriously, but nobody talks about it, especially in our business, because it affects the voice and the body so much. And you've been very vocal and open about going through menopause. Or if you're willing to talk about it, we would love to discuss that with you and what you had to deal with.
Well, I went through it early, like very early, at 39. 38, 39. Well, that doesn't even sound early anymore, because more and more women are going through it earlier. There's a lot more of everything. That used to be an anomaly. But now my older sister, she's 6 years older than me, called me. She's like, you should get yourself checked because I'm going through menopause. And she was 45, which even now doesn't sound like, you're like, oh, okay. But it used to be that it was in your 50s, right? That people,
our age.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay. And it was masked because I was on birth control. So I was getting a regular period. And then I went in, and he thought, he was my OBGYN, who's lovely. He's like, did you watch that Oprah episode? Because people are getting freaked out. I'm sure you're fine. And I was like, just check my FSH levels. And he's like, oh, your window's closing like rapidly. And it was like, I had like, you know, I liken it, my follicles to like a couple of wasabi peas or something. I'm like, they're done. I'm done. It's done for me. Done. So it was really a lot. And this is,
Emotional, isn't it?
it was so emotional. Oh my God, I left my body. I would go, and then for a minute I went to a fertility person thinking I'd try to find something to raise, and I would leave my body. I remember having my girlfriend go with me. She was like, I'll go with you. And she had like her little Yorkie. So like two women, she's like, I was like, take notes, because I can't, I am too freaked out. So even though I played a doctor on TV, I rarely went to them. And I was like, so yeah, but it was pretty traumatic. And then I went through it like at like 40, 41 and real like, and it was right when I was doing private practice. I just gotten married. Oh my God. I mean, it was really hard. Like a lot of change. It tends in my life anyway. I don't know if you relate to this being an artist, but I take big swings in life. You know, I ended up in Perth.
Yep.
Pandemic. And so sometimes with those big risks and swings, sometimes you win, sometimes you fail, and it's always an experience. But boy, things just organically seem to also happen all at once. You're like, oh, I got the spinoff from Grey's, and I'm getting married, and I'm going through menopause, and I'm infertile. What? So it was a lot. It was really challenging. And yeah, and then it got better.
Did you hormone replacement?
I did for a minute. I tried bioidenticals. And then I didn't really like that because I felt like I was my own, you know, that's part of the, I think the real challenge of it, without people talking about it though. And without, because people talk about, you know, women at menstruating, they talk about prenatal,
Right.
postnatal pregnancy. Nobody talks about menopause. It's like dark. It's like, bye. It's like a door. You walk into a room, shut the door, you wave goodbye to everyone, and it's dark, and there's no light switch.
Come
like,
back out in 5 years when you're done, right?
Yeah. No one would. So, but for me, it was too much sort of experimenting on myself with hormones. That's how it felt. And I know that's how so many women feel. You're like, well, they're like, try this. Yeah. See if it, you know, there have been supplements that have worked. I partnered with, what was it? I can't remember the name, but it was Equell for, and they worked. I don't take hormones because I had a brain tumor, and they're like, just don't, you can't do that. But I changed everything. It was a change, a very holistic change, meaning diet. I mean, I quit smoking, diet, lifestyle, like exercise, sleep hygiene, meditation, radical acceptance. Like when and I think even I'm like kind of through it now. At 53, I'm done. And but I take a ton of supplements, including, you know, biotin, resveratrol, and omega vitamins and probiotics. I mean, I kind of try to, I love food. So sometimes I eat really well and then I eat crappy. And it's like, I enjoy that.
We're human beings.
Yeah, I like wine. I like cocktails.
Life's short, man.
Yeah. But then I exercise and I try to get enough sleep. But when I wake up, sometimes I'll still wake up hot, and I just go, hey, no, take the ride. You know, I mean, I've had some random weird, I'm like, I think I'm done. And then suddenly out of nowhere, I'll get a hot flash. I'm like, oh, I remember just meeting someone very important here. And I was like at dinner, and then just was like drenched. And literally I had a jumper, a sweater on. I had to take it off. And I was like, thank God. But you know, you get to that point, you're like, I don't care. I'll sit here in my bra and underwear.
I don't care. See, I get this.
I'm like, God, I will bury my face in a bucket of ice in front of you.
I started going through it right before I did the Three Queens at the Met.
Oh, buddy.
Good time. Like the hardest thing in my life. Yeah, I go to the doctor literally a month before I'm to go to the Met to do the Three Queens to start rehearsals, and the doctor says to me, the gynecologist, yeah, you're in menopause. And I said, that's not possible because I'm only 45. And he said, you're full blown, like completely almost done, because I stopped by 48. I was done. And you at 39, I think 48 was young, but 39.
Yeah.
39. I know. And we don't know if it's hereditary because my mother had all of her babies. She had 5 kids by the time she was 34, and 36 she had a hysterectomy. So you're like, we don't know.
Nobody knows.
but it is more and more, right? It's like,
Yeah, and the hair starting to fall out. I mean, you still
oh
have.
my God, everything changes, the skin, you're like, hey, hold on.
Yes.
But collagen, protein, I started, I started seeing a nutritionist, which really helped. And there's there are, I think, really great homeopathic and between Western medicine and sort of integrative medicine as well, like I think there are more doctors and female doctors, but men too, but really that are really studying. That's been my experience, that have gotten into women's health because.
Well, I mean, you're in a business that's all truly about looks, right?
Yeah.
Especially for the women. And so to go through menopause so early when you're starting a new TV show, I mean, that's got to be.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And the hours working, that crazy hours and then all the press that goes along with it. Yeah, it was a lot. And then, but it's incredibly stressful, but I do, there are lots of moments in my trailer and floods of tears, but then you're like, okay, here I go. So I had my work husband at the time, Mark Tinker, who was our director producer on the show, and he's great, and a lot of great people. I mean, but also so many great women on that show, like the whole
Audra.
Cast. Audra.
Hello, good friend, love her. She is amazing.
Delight. We still have our private practice text chain. I mean, literally, I'm like, you guys, I'm in Australia. This is costing me money. Stop texting. But we're all. It was the latest was all of their kids, and I was like, I still have a cat and a dog, still holding strong. But everyone's doing great. But yeah, we great, as you know, I'm sure with opera as well. I mean, you become. I don't know. Do you feel like do you become like a family? Is it?
It depends on the show. I think like for me, my family with my opera colleagues, I have people from all different kinds of shows. People I've kept in touch with for 20 years. You know what I mean? I'm always looking for the people that I can trust so we can talk smack and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like in a box, in a vault, in a room, and then I trust you, and then you're my friend for life. Does that make sense? Like then wherever we are in the world, I want to meet with you. We want to hang out and have a good time because you can let your hair down and be yourself. And those are the singers that I gravitate towards the most. Honestly,
you must have that too. Yeah. What else do we want to ask, Carrie? Anything, or do we want to move on to rapid fire?
I do have one question because something about what you said with cancer. I really thought that it was more breast cancer, ovarian cancer, things like that affect menopause and hormonal usage. I didn't know that even a brain tumor they tell you not to take hormones.
Yeah, because they're not certain. They've done research on my particular tumor is a meningioma, and it was benign, thank God. But it's very common with women and twice as common in women than men. Okay. And particularly between 40s and 60s. Mm-hmm. So they think it's correlated with, and also there have been women that have had it right after birth, after they've given birth.
Interesting.
So they think the surge of hormones can grow it, and they don't know. It can grow because mine was pretty sizable. It was like a small lemon, like a 5 millimeter. And they were like, well, it's there for, oh God, it was, again, I thought initially, I'd just been on this show called Bad Judge, and I was executive producing and starring in it. And I was really burning the candle at both ends. And, it's kind of what I used to like to do. Now I've slowed down quite a bit, but it was, I was exhausted. We did 13 episodes and they canceled the show, but I was still doing post-production. I had done a really intense workout and diet regime for it. I thought, I just burned and I've been working my ass off. I just burned myself out. No problem. I'll just go back to yoga, Pilates, gentle. And then I remember I was doing Pilates and my instructor was like, your right side's dipping. Like it's completely dipped. I'm like, no, it's not, and then she's like, yeah, look at you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it didn't really, again, it was like very subtle, like kind of wobbly, a little off balance. And then I noticed like when I was driving, it was very hard to drive. And then it became very, and then I thought, is this menopause symptoms again? And I was exhausted. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, I could drink 5 cups of coffee and still not feel awake. So that I was like, what is up? So I went to go see this compound and bioidentical like person in Santa Monica at the time that was highly recommended. And I answered this long, like 8 pages of tick, 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 tick. And it checked all the boxes of a lot of my symptoms. So I went in and she started prescribing compound stuff and, and then it didn't get any better. And then I started having like shooting pain in my, left side. And it was like, I remember I was in New York hosting a benefit for Operation Smile. And I had no energy. I remember having a vitamin IV, like one of those things come to my hotel room. I was like out of it. And I remember my boyfriend at the time was like, "You're just depressed. Your show is canceled." I'm like, no, you don't. And I went and finally I was like, I kept started going, I got to go to the hospital. And he was like, well, that's going to be on TMZ if you go to the ER. So let me make an appointment. He goes, why? What do you, I go, I just want to see a neurologist. I just want to make sure everything's okay. I just don't, feel right. We know our bodies. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
But we live in a culture too, sadly, but it's true, that we're constantly talked out of our feelings and out of our sanity. Like, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're depressed. You're crazy. You're depressed.
Hormones. Yeah.
Hormones. And I literally went and saw a very prominent Los Angeles neurologist who told me I was, an out of work actress in her 40s going through the change, and tried to give me a high dosage of Zoloft.
Oh my God.
And I was like, respectfully, I see a shrink, and I have nothing against, I'm fully in support of medications and antidepressants. This is not what I want to explore before I get an MRI. And I had to really push for that MRI. Now, to be fair to him, I'm sure he gets a lot of people in there saying, I think I'm dying and I want an MRI. But unfortunately, in the healthcare system, with the myriad problems there are in America, I don't know if it's just really expensive. It's as if I asked him to build the MRI machine. I was like, just give me a fucking MRI. Why? What do you think you're going to find? Verbatim is what he said. What do you think you're going to find? What?
I don't know. You're the doctor.
Why? Because I'm fine here with you for 20 minutes. I couldn't drive at that point. Like I couldn't drive, and I was in bed the rest of the day, but I was strong. And I'm like, I could walk. If I walked down, so it was, he finally acquiesced, and then, we didn't even rush it. But by the time I got in there, my boyfriend tossed me a volleyball in the pool and it fractured my pinky. I had no depth perception. I was just out of it cognitively, but it was very subtle until it wasn't. And then thank God I went in and got my finger taped, my pinky taped, and I found out I had a massive tumor in my head. And then 3 days later, I was in surgery and they took it out.
So we say to everybody, listen to your gut instincts and listen to your body.
Always. And the bottom line is there isn't enough research into women's health. There just isn't. They don't do, statistically, they do drug testing for drugs. Most drugs, they do it on men. They didn't even understand that Ambien affects women differently until women started like having all these terrible problems. And they're like, oh, turns out like we're physiologically completely different. So,
no, I love that you've said it is true. And I love that you've said you have to be your best advocate. And I
bring a friend in with you. If you don't, like, or your husband or your partner or whomever, bring your dog in, whatever's going to make you feel better and get the information. Because I would get nervous, and I feel like a pretty confident, intelligent person, but I would get doctors. We've been socialized since we're babies that doctors and lawyers and these people they know everything and they're God. And so I, would still get nervous,
They intimidate. They really do intimidate.
Well, I think I reported
the medical community, because I don't mean that like to disparage the medic, but it's intimidating. And I think that it was part of the Equal campaign. It was part of, I think it's just critical to advocate for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if something's not right, then you have to, I remember with mammograms and if somebody, listen, mammograms are not fun. They're not comfortable, but there's a difference between uncomfortable and pain. And when that woman is not doing that right, you need to say, I'm so sorry, you need to stop. I need another technician now.
That happened to me. At a very high, very well-respected place, getting a mammogram. And we all know they're not comfortable at all.
Not fun.
It's like so damaging that I had pain in my breast then for like 2 years after.
It's not normal.
And I thought, oh, well, but she was a very willful person, the tech that was doing it. And I was like, oh, but now and then I was like there. And I remember asking, they're like, no, it should never feel like that.
No.
No. And yes. And especially with,
like, it's so strange, right? It's such a strange thing that we're still, but it's so beautiful, at least that we're in this day and age that we're able to have talks like this.
Yes.
That you're doing a podcast where you're like, hey, we want to talk about art and culture. And also let's talk about what it's like to be female and of a certain age and what we're experiencing.
Right.
And nobody talks about it.
We can't talk about it enough. I mean, it was part of the thing with Equal, and I don't know what that partnership looks like for a future, but one of the things I was really passionate about when working with them was like the whole macro story of like, let's keep telling the story and let's get women really talking. And because we also know that when we talk with each other, we learn and we share our secrets, and you share, and then you get information and you get solutions. And that's the big part of it as well, right?
No, it's amazing. I went through my own health journey, but I didn't want to make it public to my opera business because then everybody would have thought I was dying, and then they don't hire you.
Or it's a stigma.
It's a stigma, and so I kept it quiet.
I didn't talk about my brain tumor until I'd done like 3 jobs after.
Right?
You know what I mean? You're like, I want people to know, like, I don't want to ever go onto a set and have them go, oh,
ooh, is she gonna
remember her lines?
Yeah. How much insurance do we need for her? You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So, no, but what I ended up doing was, because my mom is a healthcare worker and instilled in me this, fight for you. You always have to fight for you in that system.
Right.
That, it was a privilege to be able to talk to other singers, other people that I knew that were going through it, and just say, hey, FYI, you can get this. If you have to go through surgery, you can get this kind of mask because it won't touch your vocal cords. I mean, that's a huge deal. And to be able to walk into I remember walking to an anesthesiologist, and I'm like, listen, this costs me an arm and a leg, probably like how much you make all the time. And I said, so I need you to protect this like you would protect your hands in your own career. And I knew, because I asked other people, that a lot of times anesthesiologists leave the room and their nurse takes over. And I was like, no. I need you in the room with me the entire time. Like, I need that in writing. And he was like, are you kidding me? And I said, no, I'm dead serious. I want the best.
So, I mean, honestly,
yeah.
That's great information. I mean, honestly, this is critical information. Like, you have this, like, ooh, that's highly sought after because you have that because your mom's a health worker. That's amazing.
She's helped Carrie so much.
And to be able to pass that info on, and that you can actually ask for this. It's okay. You can ask for what you need and what you want. And if that person isn't going to help you, then there's someone else that will. So be your best advocate. So I love that you did that. I love that you said that.
Okay, now we're going to let you go. We're going to ask you rapid fire.
Okay.
I want to ask the first one, Carrie.
Go ahead.
So you've been a blonde. You've been a redhead. You've been a brunette. Right? So have we.
Not red, just blonde.
I've been a redhead.
So why? It's fun to change your hair color, right?
It is. Yes, it is.
So who has the most fun?
Ooh. I'd say the redhead. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really?
For me, the redhead. Blonde, I got the most attention with. Because I remember I grew up with kind of this hair color.
Me too.
And then I went blonde. It was suddenly like, oh, people are looking at you. It's like, wow, this feels really good. This is great. Guys are looking at me. That was pretty fun.
Carrie, what do you think? I mean, when I met Carrie, she was darker than you.
Like Elvira.
Oh, really?
Way too dark. It was horrible.
So who has more fun, Carrie?
I don't know. I didn't know that I could actually do blonde and pull it off, but I mean, I like it. I think it's fun.
Natural fun. I thought you for sure that you're
I'm your color. My mom and I had the same color hair. My sister was blonde, but I wasn't.
No. That's the biggest compliment. It looks natural, Carrie.
Thank you. Okay, I know you love to travel because I totally read, and we interview. What am I trying to say? I've had way too much wine by now, ladies. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't want you to feel like I'm a stalker. I just did my research. So, okay.
It's called being prepared, okay?
Thank you. Okay. So I know that you love to travel, and I've seen some of your interviews, and effing hilarious, especially the Jimmy Fallon one where you were talking about a whitewater rafting trip. I about peed myself listening to that interview.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
okay, so what my question is, what in all your travels, what has been your most favorite adventure so far? Like your best memory, your best place?
Antarctica. That was where I was before I came here.
Whoa.
And it was an epic journey. And it was also the last trip really before COVID. And I went on a Nat Geo Lindblad expedition, and I may have met the love of my life. And I saw a lot of ice and a lot of penguins, and it was
Cool.
changing. And I also did the polar plunge, meaning I dove into the Antarctic sea. It was the sea, I guess. The sea. Yeah.
Sure.
And when you dive, I just want to point this out. When you dive, you're a little further away from the platform to swim back to, as opposed to just jumping in and then skidding right out. Either way, it's like a cat in water. So
did you have the guy with the defibrillator there?
They had them there, but they gave you then this really yummy drink. Like there was like this berry elixir, like hot, and then like with vanilla vodka in it. And then you just slam a shot of that as a little cup as soon as you come out. And it's like, whoa.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
You're like, can I plunge again for that drink?
I did it at Ann Ziv's house with Dmitry Rostovsky. He talked me into doing it. And Ann Ziv's assistant stood there with the paddles, like right when you got out. And every swear word that you can think of, I was yelling it. And Dimitri's like, oh, this is fun. I'm like, that's because you're Russian.
What water?
Ann has a little pond there. It was in the middle of winter. There was snow all around. And
okay, got it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to die. Yeah.
I think that's anything like Antarctica, though.
You're crazy, but I love it. So
wait, Dimitri, I mean, just for a moment, Dimitri, I mean, that broke that's so heartbreaking. I was so happy, I got to see him sing in Vienna, and at the Met, I think, but in Vienna, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Right.
And how long it's been now. It's been
That's the thing. I was so lucky. Like, I feel so fortunate that, my tumor was negative, like benign.
Yeah. Well, I was going to go there, but yeah.
I pivoted.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, wait. Santa Fe has the 10,000 Waves Spa, and they used to have the cold plunge, and then you'd get back in the hot tub. And I thought that was cold, but I can't even imagine like Antarctica. Like, I'm sorry, but did your vagina just like jump out of your head? Like, it's so cold.
That's my friend Gary. That's my friend Gary.
On the deck, they're like, well, we're going to sit this one out. They were like, no, you go ahead. Let me know when you're back. I'll come back 2 days later. No, it was actually pretty invigorating. I found it. Didn't you find that it changes your whole body chemistry? And by the way, I have never been at a spa and ever done the cold plunge. Like at every spa, I'm like, I dip my feet and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't.
But I love it. I do love it at the spa. I mean, once I found that out.
Yeah. They say if you do 3 cycles of cold, hot, that it's equivalent to like 45 minutes of cardio.
And it's good for your immune system.
Okay, wait. Now I got the Peloton studio, so now I need the cold plunge studio because maybe that'll take off the rest of the COVID pounds.
Well, Carrie, you know what? It's going to be snowing there soon. So you go to do the Peloton and then you walk outside.
Just park it outside.
Exactly.
Wait, let me ask you. So Sandra, can we just go back for a minute? I'm way over, and then I know. Oh fuck!
We don't care. Do you have another interview? That's why I was trying to
interview in about. I have to leave in about 5 minutes. Okay, but let me just ask: when you went to do the 3 queens, then how is it? How do you protect your voice when you go through menopause? Like, how is it? Like,
that's
what?
5 minutes, girl.
Have to adjust? Is it, or is it's more complex? That's
it is. I mean, imagine what happens to your whole body. Like that loose skin that we all start to feel. When we go through menopause, it's the same thing happens to your vocal cords. So they become a little bit more flaccid, I would call it. Yeah. And so some people, their voices go higher after menopause, and most people, their voices go lower.
Lower,
I being a freak, of course, my voice went higher. But the problem is when you're going through it, you don't know from day to day
what it's going to be. And do you feel it so you can't control it? Do they give you exercises? Are there exercises you can do like vocal or no?
No, you just have to compensate. And if you know your voice really well, you can kind of find that workaround. And then there's drugs. You know, I mean, honestly, we have to get through what we have to get through. So either steroids, which both of us try not to take if we don't need to, or anti-inflammatories, because Carrie and I both know that our vocal cords are strong enough to take anti-inflammatories. Some people aren't. They have a lot of veins in their vocal cords, and then that's a big no-no. So sleep, alcohol affected it a lot for me, so I couldn't drink then, which is just a double whammy because you're going through menopause and you can't drink. It's like,
well, that's what I know people have said to me, like, it's happening. And I was just like, you're not going to like this, but you're not going to, like, you're going to want to lay off the red wine. Or like me, even now, I'm like, well, if I drink red wine, I will be up. And I love it. I love it.
Carrie's not going through it yet.
I was like, white wine is so bougie, guys. It's so bougie. A Chardonnay. Guess who's like, I'll have Chardonnay. I'm going to put ice in it and I'll have it out of a sippy cup at this point. Yep. But no, when it is hard. It's like, well, I know I'm going to like be writing it. My body's going to be writing a check after I have a red wine night. That's all right. You know, that's it. You're just like, okay.
It's basically you had to live like a nun, right? So those days, you picked the days where you had fun. But the rest of them, you're kind of like, well, you know what? I am a nun. I am a boring person. I have to get sleep. I can't drink coffee or hot drinks or alcohol. I know, Carrie, the fun you get to look forward to.
God, you guys, I'm like,
enjoy it now. Enjoy your fun. Enjoy your fun. Okay, so are there any other?
Yes. Go ahead.
Favorite person to kiss on screen?
I
know.
I mean,
you've kissed quite a few.
I've done my fair share of whoring around, haven't I? Especially on Between Grays and Private Practice. It was like it was just like a turnstile of men.
A slut on both of those. I mean,
really. I was like, I've slept with everyone in Grey's Anatomy. It's time to go. They're like, we'll put you to Santa Monica now on a different show. I would say, geez, that's hard. Okay.
Like in movies.
Who?
Say Tay Diggs. Very, very lovely. He's also a friend. You know what I mean? There's that weird psychotic thing too. And I don't know if you've experienced it when you're like, I'm here, but I'm not here.
Yeah. Right.
You know, you're like, there's 60 people. This is my job. And making it a certain way. But yeah, you're very soft.
Nice lips.
Okay.
Favorite cuss word? Favorite in any language?
Oh, really? I've got my made up cuss word is called, it's Fuckertown. So I've Fuckertown and like, oh, Fuckertown. So that's my favorite one. But then I also love, and it's very controversial but we know the C word.
Oh.
I feel like it.
You know, I feel like
I'm Irish. I'm half Irish. My dad's from Ireland. Like everyone says it drops the C word. Like it's like,
nothing.
It's every other word. It's nothing. But I do phonetically. But I think that's why fuck is very phonetically satisfying.
It's amazing.
It's the best. It is the best way. Last one. Okay. I know you have to go. If heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say when you walk through the pearly gates?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all tits and champagne from here on out, kid.
Best answer yet.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I want to go there.
Oh, yeah. You are spectacularly wonderful. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry we went over, but it's been a blast.
Yeah.
I'm happy this finally happened and we connected. Me too. What a delight to meet you, Carrie.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see each other soon in New York or somewhere in the world.
Yes. Let me know when this comes out, when you edit it, and I'll obviously post it.
Well, we send you the version 2 for you to look at.
Yeah, and you'd be like, girls, cut that out.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Enjoy yourself there and be well, stay safe, and we will see you soon.
Okay, darlings. Take good care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.